Well, hey, man, Danny, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure.
So, before we get into your good work, I want to begin with this. 6 years ago, this pandemic changed so much about the way we work and live. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you do things today?
Wow, it has changed so much. When the pandemic hit, I was for 2 weeks, I basically did nothing, and I was worried about my training business completely. I thought I was going to fall apart. And then I started getting a ton of incoming calls, and my business grew about 25% a year for the last 5 years, just because we do Zoom on virtual training so much better than everybody else. We keep it interactive and simulate that live environment. So it's actually been, to a certain extent, kind of a godsend for my business, honestly. But to your point, everybody's still working from home, and to a point where, there's hybrid models, but a lot of people are going back to the office, but are struggling going back to the office. And one thing I did notice too is communication skills tended to suffer, just in-person communication skills, especially for the kids today entering the workforce. It's definitely been a struggle for them.
Yeah, it certainly has. I think they took the brunt of all of it. So
Mhm.
there's so many titles that you have. I want to boil down what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of 13-year-olds. It's career day. And one of the kids just wants to know what you do for a living. How do you synthesize your day job for their brains?
I would say I am a serial entrepreneur that focuses on training professionals to do their jobs better, in addition to a lot of other ventures from there.
So what did you want to be at that age? What was your dream gig?
Man, I wanted to play sports, man, or be a general manager of a sports team. I never thought I'd be doing this, that's for sure.
What team? Who were you going after?
I'm from Dallas, man, so it's Cowboys. I've been a Maverick fan until they traded Luca for 27 years. Now I'm not a fan anymore.
So what did
But
was that
any Dallas.
did that really fracture a lot of people with that
Oh,
getting
oh yeah, it really hurt a lot of people around here. I mean, I was crushed, honestly, and I'm a 50-year-old man, and I'm trying to. My girlfriend was making fun of me. She's like, "Do you bet on games?" I'm like, "No, I mean, I that was probably my second biggest hobby is going to Maverick games. I go to about 25 to 30 a year for the last 25 years.
wow.
And once they traded, in my opinion, one of the best players in the game for nothing,
Yeah.
I was done. It just didn't make sense anymore.
And they were so close that year before. I mean, you all went so far in the playoffs. Everybody had high hopes, and it's like they just got rid of. Like I remember Mahomes used to fly in, and he'd be
A huge
courtside.
fan, yeah.
He loved
And
him. They had a great
we
relationship.
we built a whole team around Luca, and then you trade Luca. I mean, it made no sense. It was one man, one jealous man that had no idea what he was doing, convinced the owner to do it. And we're making some strides, but everybody's like, "Are you going back?" I'm like, "No, I couldn't care less." I mean, Cooper Flag is great, but it's just
Yeah,
not the same, man.
it's
It's
not
not.
the same. I remember in '94 when the MLB strike happened. That killed me. I didn't get
No.
back in until I had kids, and then I was
Yeah.
like, all
Yeah.
right. And then the Royals started winning. It was kismet. It worked well, but at that time, they can break your heart, and it's so heartless. And you know what? The thing that's about it, so he goes to the Lakers. He's teamed up with LeBron. They can't do anything. They're not going to do anything. And then it's just like even with like Russell Wilson, they send him to Denver on this inflated contract. He's done nothing. Like when you do that half the time, it's almost like you're killing their careers.
Yes, I agree. I agree, and I actually think Luca's going to come back here eventually.
Well, that's good. I hope so too. Yeah.
I don't think he likes LA. I mean, ever since he's been in LA, he's already gotten separated and divorced, basically.
Wow.
I don't think he enjoys LA in the spotlight like that. So, but I also think the NBA manufactured that trade because they used to do this in the 70s all the time, where they needed him in LA for the ratings. So it was a forced trade. That's why we got Cooper Flag.
So he comes back to Dallas. You have the chance to get tickets for that first night. How much will you be willing to pay to watch him again, or will you go back?
If they get Luca, I would go back and I'd get season tickets.
Okay. All right. I love
Yeah,
it.
that changes things a lot. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how I feel.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I love the entrepreneurial mindset. Take me back to your beginnings and what were the seeds that were planted that made you into an entrepreneur, that made you into a success?
When I was at Arthur Anderson, I started looking at what they were paying me versus what they were billing. And I mean, I was blown away at the discrepancy between the two. And then fast forward, I got a director of audit job at a smaller company. And I was going to training sessions and Joe, the trainings were awful. They were reading from slides. They didn't know what they were talking about. And I'm like, you're supposed to train me, and I know a lot more than you do. Plus, they weren't entertaining me at all. They weren't engaging me. And so I kept thinking to myself, you know what? I can probably do this a lot better than them. So I have no formal training whatsoever. I was at Dr. Pepper in 2008 doing it on the side. And I just had no passion for my job. I was working a ton of hours, never seeing my kids, and I decided it's time to go. So it was 2009. My kids were 2 years and 6 months old. People thought I was crazy. And I actually started looking for other jobs just in case. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to reach out to my contacts, see where this goes. Got a couple of contracts, ended up selling my business, ended up buying it back in 2014. And it's the best decision I've ever made because the flexibility and the time I have on a daily basis is so precious and the ability to work kind of whenever I want is something that's more valuable than money.
So, who's been that hero, that inspirational force that's allowed you to navigate and to go through these halls of entrepreneurship to arrive where you're at today?
I think, I was telling my kids these new startups I'm doing right now and in my business too. It's all about my kids. It's all about trying to create generational wealth for my kids and teach them good lessons because I don't think either of them are going to go into the workforce and work in corporate America now. And I take great pride in the fact that they're not because I don't want them to rot in corporate America for the next 20, 30 years. I want them to enjoy their lives. So I'd say it's my kids are my inspiration more than anything else.
So, who's been that CEO or that entrepreneur that's been inspirational to you that you find to be the ideal example of how you're supposed to treat employees, deliver a product, all of the good things that maybe you have emulated?
Man, Joe, I don't think I've ever been asked that question.
Huh.
And I don't know if I have an answer for it, honestly. There's been a lot of influence. I like Elon Musk a lot. I think that he sees a vision that other people don't see, and I think that's critical, obviously, with being an entrepreneur. But right off the bat, I think I take from a lot of different people, honestly. Yeah, and the lessons I've learned is don't be the low cost provider and provide something unique. If you're able to do those two things, you're going to be successful.
So, speaking of someone like Elon, obviously being an entrepreneur, it's about asking questions, figuring things out, evolving in your craft. What would you ask a mind like Elon? What would you want to know that would help you on your journey?
How do I evolve over the next 15 years in all of my business ventures with the onset of AI and everything else? I'd want because that's been everybody asks me the same question is your business going to be eliminated? I don't think it is at all, but it's going to change and and I want to be ahead of the curve. So I really want to understand how I can be ahead of that curve as much as possible.
So I've asked a lot of people on this show and in general that I've seen a lot of things about AI, experts that have talked about it. The only person that I've seen really squirm and get nervous is when Elon was on Rogan's show. And he would talk to him about it, and he would just be like, yeah, it would be the only time. Like he would be comfortable, and I know they're smoking and doing whatever they're doing, but still, there was this fear that came into him about it because he knows, like he's sending rockets into space. He's doing things that regular human beings will never do on this planet. So he knows how this works. And it almost feels a little bit like an Arthur C. Clarke novel. Like he
Yeah.
knows that there's a potential for things to go sideways. I mean, he's hopeful. He's not saying that, but we all know with AI that there's levels of this that are beyond taking labor jobs that are a part of
Joe,
it.
I'll be honest with you. I actually think it is going to go sideways 100% because we are, as humans, reactive
Yeah.
and we're going to react too late. And quite frankly, I'm going to say it. A lot of people are lazy. So if they've got a shortcut, they're going to use those shortcuts as much as possible. I actually think over the next 10 years, you're going to see a movement against technology. I think you're going to see a movement back to books and DVDs
Sure.
and libraries because people are going to get fed up with just being online all the time and really an AI machine probably making decisions for you. So I think there's going to be a push against it. But yeah, I'm really concerned about it.
I've gone back to vinyl. I've reverted back to things that we never thought we would go back to.
Yeah,
So,
I think those are going to be extremely valuable over the next 20 years.
yeah, I do too. So let me ask you this. What is the energy for you every day to do? You got a lot going on. There's a lot of people that depend on you. What is that energy every day to do it at a high level and to take care of your soul along the way?
So it's funny because people ask me, and my girlfriend actually gets on me all the time. She's like, you don't have a lot of close friends. You don't have many hobbies. I'm like, this is my hobby. I like building businesses. I like thinking through on how to make something bigger than me. I want to create generational wealth for my kids. So really, it's honestly, I think it's an entrepreneur. It's all about self-motivation. Like because if you're not going to get out of bed, you're not going to make money, period. And so it's honestly, I just think it's me that I'm naturally motivated to continue to get better. And actually, my I'll give my girlfriend a lot of credit. She has also pushed me to. I never thought I would be doing startups right now at 50 years old, but I've had a couple of good ideas, and she's the first one to say, you need to jump into it because it's a great idea.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You ran into the 18-year-old version of you, ready to go out, charge hard into the world. And there's a film projector in the room. And you walk in at your age now, you hit play, and there's a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived. Would that young version of you believe your life turned out this way?
I don't think so. At 18, I wasn't thinking like this at all. I didn't find out what I wanted to be in life until I was about 35, honestly. So yeah, I don't think he'd believe it, but I think he would be pretty happy with it.
Would you have any advice?
Wow, what would I advise the young 18? I'd tell them to bet on certain teams in certain years to make some. No, I'm kidding. Um, I would say stay true to yourself, and whoever you are is good, and it's just a matter of maturing into that.
So let's say you walked into a room of everybody that knows you in a business sense, and you walk to a podium and you can tell them one fun story about you. Maybe the best game you ever witnessed, first concert you went to, jumping out of an airplane, outrunning a bear. A fun story that would humanize you to that room of professionals that know you in a professional sense. What fun story would you tell that room?
So my parents are European, and in Europe, you do two kisses when you greet somebody. In Latin America, Mexico, you only do one kiss. Well, I was working at Dr. Pepper. The CEO of Penefiel at the time, CFO at Penefiel, was a beautiful woman. Not that that matters, but it mattered. And when you go to Mexico, you always go to dinner, have drinks, and everything to get to know each other before you work together. Well, we went as a team, and I walked her to her room, and I kissed her on the cheek, and then I went in for the second kiss. And the look of horror on this woman's face right away, and we laughed about it after the fact. But I went in for that second kiss. She's like, no, 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 one kiss, that's it.
Man, I remember going to Italy the first time and they were doing that. I'm like, man, we don't come from this whole like we're shaking hands or we're doing something else. They were going in and and when you're an American, you don't want to go in straight. You got to go to the side. You just because it can get dicey fast.
Oh yeah, and that was my problem. And this it's actually a good teaching moment for me that I use in class all the time is don't apply your culture to someone else's culture. It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
No, it doesn't. So, of that 60-second highlight reel that came up on the screen, what is the thing that you're the happiest, the proudest of?
I would say my training business, we've been doing it for almost 20 years. Like I mentioned, I sold it, I bought it back, and we've grown it over, I don't know, about 700% over the last 10 years. It's a good, viable business that has lots of potential to continue to grow. Plus, I am extremely confident in my two new ventures right now that to a point where that would be in my highlight reel, and they're not even out launched yet. So.
So behind you there is your book. Writing a book is a big deal. It takes a lot of energy. There's so much that goes into it. How did the idea for the book come about, and how good does it feel that it's out and it's people are consuming?
You know, I've written actually, this is my sixth book I've written, and every one has just been so different. This one specifically was more of a passion project, honestly, because I found myself, I'm always, my parents always told me, be nice and, that'll take care of your relationships. Just be good to people. And what I found, in reality, that's not the case. People take advantage of you quite a bit. I've had relationships, girlfriends that took advantage of me. I've had friends. I've had my kids too. And I've had, professional relationships as well. And I started to think through and talk to people about this and research it. And everybody told me over and over again, I need something like this because I'm too nice to people. I get taken advantage of. I lose my identity because I'm so focused on pleasing others that I don't please myself anymore. So the whole book is all about that topic in addition to setting boundaries, learning how to say no, and being your authentic self.
So, Danny, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you from your book, everyone that knows you in a business sense, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Man, I'm gonna say it. I think I'm the title of this book, a little bit of an a-hole. And that's what I've been told. Everybody told me right away that's a perfect title for your book because I'm a good person. I am a bit of a people pleaser. I try to help people, but people also know that, if you cross your boundaries, if you push me too far, it's not going to go well. And I think that's healthy in a personal and professional relationship.
So before we got on in earnest, we really got into sports talking about things. So I got to know, you get into a time machine, you can go back in time and see one game. Where are you going?
Man, man, that is a great question. I'm gonna go with 3 games. Since this is,
Yo, no, please
NBA
do.
breakup, we're gonna go with 3 games. I would go to Wilt's 100-point game,
Okay.
because it's almost there's no cameras, there's no nothing there of that game. There's not much evidence of it. Secondly, I'd probably go to the '92 Super Bowl where the Cowboys beat the Bills. What was it, 57-19, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, and again, this is going to be the oddity, I'd go to the first Dallas Maverick game, regular season game ever played.
That's such a great answer, man. I actually have answered the Wilt one too, because that
I
was in
did.
the old days. And to
Yeah,
see someone that dominant doing that, man. And Kansas City used to have a team for a while, the Kings, and I think he
of
was
course.
on there for a brief amount of time. So
Mm, I don't think he was.
you wouldn't know he wasn't? I
He
thought he
played for the
played.
King.
I'll
He
have to
played for the.
research it. I thought he was on our team for just a little bit because he had a connection, I believe, to Lawrence, but I'll have to look into it.
Yeah,
So
because he went to Kansas, right?
yeah, he was at
Yeah,
Kansas.
yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
So I
Yeah,
thought he may have,
the
but
Kings teams of the mid '70s were pretty good too.
yeah,
Tiny,
absolutely.
Tiny was great, man.
Yeah, we'd love to get it back. And if Mahomes tweets enough, it might come back. So we'll see. Danny, this has been great, man. If anybody wants to pick up your books, they want to reach out, hire any of the good business, how do they do it?
A couple things here. You can go to Amazon and find the book, a little bit of ahole.com, and then we can go to littlebitahole.com, and that you can buy it directly from me. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Twitter under Danny M. Goldberg. And Joe, if you don't mind, do you mind if I spend a minute talking about some of these new products I've got coming
Please
up?
do. I would love to.
So the first one is again a little bit unique. We've got a patent on it. I was out at a nice restaurant last summer with my girlfriend, and I'm follically challenged. And it was a little hot because it's hot in Dallas. And I pull out my little washcloth, just a little towel to wipe my forehead. And she said, "Don't pull that out. That's disgusting." And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? That's kind of valid. It is kind of gross. So I tried to go with a soap pocket square, but that doesn't absorb anything. So I had the epiphany last summer to combine the two into one. So you've got a silk pocket square on one side,
Yeah.
and then you've got a microfiber towel on
Wow.
the side. So
Yeah, that's great.
there's nothing on the market like it. Hopefully, I actually applied to Shark Tank, see if they're interested in talking about it. But we're getting our first order produced, and we should be live and working on marketing here in the next month. So I'm really really excited about this because again, it's unique, and I think there's definitely going to be a high interest from certain markets.
So how can people get involved, get one, get on the list? How can that happen?
Crowncloth.com, CROWNE cloth.com. It's the site's up. You can put a general inquiry out there, and we don't have any pictures of the product yet, but that's coming here in the next 2 weeks.
And did you have two more?
I had one more for you.
One more. Okay.
I think, going back to what we talked about with AI, I think society is going to push back against technology. I also think you're going to see a lot of people push against in the dating world against the superficialness of the Tinders of the world, et cetera. That's kind of the market research we did. People are getting sick of that. And what's funny is my girlfriend at the time, or my girlfriend now, she said, "Oh, it's for ugly people." I said, "No, it's not for ugly people. It's for people that are sick of getting only physically valued."
Yeah.
And so this is basically a Love is Blind app where you focus only on compatibility based on categories that you're interested in. And then from there, you have pictures, but you're the one that controls the pictures once you have a match. So if you want to show them, great. If you don't, you don't. So it's again, I don't think there's anything out on the market like this. And I think there's going to be high interest from many different age groups.
That's going to be like a hybrid of that Shallow Hal movie.
Nice reference, by the way.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could definitely be it. Well, I will make sure to put all these links on the show notes. Man, Danny, you're a total pro. This has been an absolute joy. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir, for taking a minute out. Best of luck with the launches and everything else. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.